Hey, it's Trevor, man. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good, just chilling, dude. Last interview of the day here.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad I can help finish off the day of press for you.
Yeah, honestly, it's just been nice to have something to do, keep my mind alive.
Oh, totally. With everything that's going on right now, and I mean, just being able to talk about something awesome like this, I mean, it's a good distraction and a good way to be able to, spread some good music around as well.
Yeah, man, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And, with that, thank you very much for taking the time to be able to do this. It was great being able to talk to you during the last album cycle, and it's great now to be able to talk about the new album.
No worries, man. It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, awesome. So, how did the songwriting process begin for this new album?
It was, approached pretty similarly to any of the recent records we've done. We didn't really have a written plan of doing anything different, but it just kind of came to life on its own in that way. I think we kind of had an underlying plan, unspoken, to make more varied music as we've gone on. And, I think Nightbringers was a big step in that direction, but this one, I feel like is our most ambitious record so far in those regards. It has the most dynamics, the most variety from song to song, and I think the most personality in between each song,
Oh, I completely agree. And even though I just got the album yesterday, I've been able to give it two full spins, and I can absolutely agree with that. I mean, I love the fact that there is some great somber moments that are going on there, but there's so much life that's going on throughout this album and all these different directions and songwriting styles, and it feels like a great cohesive Black Dahlia Murder album, but it's so varied at the same time, but it flows together. The fact that you guys can continue that in your progression just says a lot about the musical chemistry going on.
Yeah, man, this is a really special lineup. Having Brandon come into the fold before Nightbringers has been the perfect storm. I think that he left a big mark on that record, but he really spread his wings for this one. You know what I mean? And it's nice to have the same lineup on two records, and everyone has been settled in for a while, and there's just a really killer chemistry, man. So, yeah, I just see this lineup making a lot of cool records in the future, hopefully, and it was definitely fun to make. I could sense from the beginning that it was, turning out to be a little different, and not being afraid, but just going with it. You know what I mean? Just kind of just doing some new things and incorporating some new ideas, and I like what we've done.
Yeah, and I love that about the band. It's just like you're not afraid to try these different ideas, and yeah, I mean, Nightbringers was a great example of that, but now here with Verminous, I mean, it's exactly what I was hoping for with this lineup, and just being able to see everything that's going on. I mean, from the guitar solos to the lyrical themes that are going on there, to the artwork, everything that's going on here. It just feels like it's such a great natural progression for the band, but, just being able to spread your wings more and just have it feel natural at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit less dense than Nightbringers was. A little bit less just filled with technicality and speed. We pulled back a little bit in a conscious effort to make things a bit more catchy, and me with my delivery, I tried to slow down the delivery and make it a bit more clear and cram less lyrics in than I normally tend to, which is a lot. And give the song some room to breathe and have some more open and kind of memorable parts that will really resonate.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, that's another thing I do love about this album is when I'm listening for someone to be able to have a standout point in a song, everyone can be heard when it comes to that. I mean, whether it's your delivery, whether it's guitar solos, whether it's some drum fills, whatever the case is. I mean, everything stands out and it's so clear and audible, and even though it, like you said, scaling back on the technicality, the catchiness of it just makes up for it, and it's such a cool thing to see that.
Yeah, man. It definitely feels good right now to be sitting on the eve of this coming out, and the excitement is pretty palpable. And yeah, I just feel really proud. I feel like it's a really creative statement for us.
So, with that in mind, I mean, I always love what goes through your mind when you're coming up with lyrical themes and concepts for each album. What was going through your mind this time around?
Well, there's the whole Verminous thing. I wouldn't call it a concept record, but there is a slight concept that's kind of like returned to on a few songs. The title track and Sunless Empire, for example, and a little bit in the last song. But the idea is that the hidden world of death metal and the underground is like a plague of knowledge. And we are the rats and roaches and the creatures deemed undesirable by society, the white picket fence world. And I'm just saying that, like, I see metal as like an underdog music, like it's a kind of a hidden thing. And once you tear the roof off and get into it, like there's no coming back, basically.
Yeah, and I love that concept going through there, and just like being able to touch on that theme like that, through the Black Dahlia style, and it's so awesome to see how that translates into the album artwork as well, like being able to see all these different insects and rats and everything. Like when you really look for it in the album cover, it's there. It's so cool to be able to see that.
Yeah, I feel like we really honed in on making everything synced up as far as visual and thematics, and it's really coming together in an exciting way. And the video too, being green and everything, it's like this is the most tied in we've had everything, so it's exciting to see it all come to life after all this planning.
Oh, definitely. And it's definitely something that we need right now. I mean, with everything that's going on in the world right now, I mean, this feels like such a great album to be able to get those emotions out there and, just being able to relate to things. I mean, whether it's like, looking into the underground of metal, whether it's, the emotion and darkness that's going on. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can take away from this album that really syncs up with what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, aside from the theme being like dangerously kind of clairvoyant of what was going to happen, yeah, I'm hoping that people will take this time to let the record, sink in, and it's definitely something that will warrant repeated plays to hear everything that it's made of. Like, there's a lot of small details put into the album, and we tried to think about just not having a song that's just face value the first time you listen to it, but something that you can like grow with and like learn more about the more you listen to it, something very like textured.
Yeah, and it's even though I've only been able to get 2 listens of the album so far, I do hear those hints of how things can be dissected so much more, and I'm so excited to be able to check out the album more for that reason, and being able to dissect everything that's going on with the songs, because it feels like there's so much in there.
Yeah, that was definitely a conscious effort, I feel like we've had the formula for a Black Dahlia song for a long time, but really with our age now, it's all about like the very fine print, the very small details and choices you can make that make the songs more three-dimensional, and that's really been the goal. Like the underlying goal, I think, of the band in the last several records is just to be more diverse and more to elicit an emotional response, hopefully. Even though it's death metal music, we tried to like write parts that would be very emotive and very gripping on that level.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with that, and that's what's always drawn me to the band, especially like you said in the last several records, where there's a lot of emotion that's going on there, of all different styles, and sometimes it can just take a couple notes of a guitar solo or just like the overall riff, the main riff of a song, is able to capture you or something like that, and this album is just filled with that. I mean, and again, it's going to be so much more fun to be able to dissect everything that's going on because of that.
Yeah, there's many layers, it's definitely, like I said, we just tried to make things as 3D as possible, and just really make songs that pop, but also just have, little minutia, little things that only happen once in each song that like you can catch if you're paying attention to, and just really, this is stuff that we couldn't have done 10 years ago, and definitely not 20 years ago when we were starting out. So, it is a more mature record, and people scoff at that word when you talk about metal sometimes. But yeah, I just think like in my mind, it's like more professional.
Oh, absolutely, and you can hear that maturity going on through almost every single record, and yeah, it's amazing to see, just like with 20 years and so many great albums that have come from you guys, and now seeing where you are now. I mean, just this progression that's happened throughout the band is just amazing to look back on.
That's cool, man. I'm very flattered to hear you say that, and we've tried to stay the course in a way to be a dependable band, like a Cannibal Corpse, where you have an idea of what you're going to get from them. They're not going to like sell out, and but they also like strive to make good records within that like blueprint. You know what I mean? And so yeah, there's always room to grow. There's always room for more technicality and like better playing, and there's like a selfish desire on our end to make the songs more complex, and it's I don't know, there's something about playing like the newer stuff live that's just so rewarding, so yeah, like it's a balance. The balance of what the fans want and expect, and our own selfish need to like be more progressive.
Oh, very much so. And I mean, you never want the band to feel stale in your own mind, because if it starts to feel stale to you, it's going to start to feel stale to everybody else, and things start to fall apart. So when you are able to spread your wings, whether it's becoming more complex, whether it's becoming more catchy, whether it's going in these different kinds of directions, I think that's so important to be able to do, yet maintain that core sound of what you can do.
Yeah, man. Like, there's just no shortage of creative juices with the band. Like I said, I feel like we're on a real high note right now with all of this, and I feel like it's the beginning of a great run of records for us. And Brandon is one of the key players in that. He's just really given us such life since he's joined the band. And even though he's very young, he's like a musical prodigy. You know what I mean? We're very lucky to be conspiring with a mind like his.
Oh, very much so. And, just like his keen sense of what to play, what key to play riffs in, his solo techniques. I mean, it's just incredible what he's able to pull off with previously. But now hearing what he's doing on this record, too, it's just, you can hear him ever expanding his style. And it's just so great to hear that with Black Dahlia, because it just fits so well together in a new way. And yeah, I mean, the more comfortable that the band becomes now, I mean, especially if this lineup continues to go on, I can't wait to see where the band's going to grow from here.
Same, man. I feel that same excitement. I feel very blessed to have the guys that we have, and personality-wise, we get on great. And yeah, man, it's just we have a really bright future ahead. And I feel like even though it's our 9th record and we've been very prolific, that we have a lot of great records left to make, and that we're still young in terms of how long I want to see this band go on. So, here's hoping to another 20 years,
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, in particular, when looking at this album too, and again, with everything that's going on in the world right now, I mean, once everything gets back to normal, I know these songs are going to translate so well in that live setting, and I can't wait to be able to see how they mix with the older material.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to we've played a couple songs live now. We debuted them in South Africa about a week ago. But yeah, I definitely look forward to playing the rest of the album, and it's just it's really satisfying to deliver a more complex song, and yeah, I'm just really proud, and we always think about what the songs are going to sound like live, and we try to write for the live environment to maximize how it's going to come across.
Oh, yeah, and that's another reason why I appreciate the band so much, is because it feels like almost every single song can be translated into that live setting. So, like, no matter how you change the set list, every song that you put on there is going to sound amazing.
Yeah, that's something that we've been very conscious of, is to not, like, do anything on the record that we can't reproduce live, like not lay down 10,000 guitar tracks, like some bands do, and just really try to make... we just think about being a live band first. I think that's our real strong suit, and it's also been the best advertisement for the band to be on tour all the time. So, we really put consideration into what's going to sound good live, what's going to come across, and we try not to be like too not have too much going on to where you can't make it out, just try to be nice and legible.
Yeah, and again, it's so important to be able to see that as well. So, with that in mind, I mean, when you were premiering the songs last week in South Africa, what was the reception to the new songs?
They seem to like them. It's definitely hard to select the singles for this record because I feel like it is like the most varied album we've done, and it can't really be summed up in a couple singles. You know what I mean? So I'm really anxious for everyone to hear the rest of the album. And but yeah, the response has been really good to the single so far, and live it seemed to go over very well.
So with that in mind, I mean, especially when you are choosing singles, like how hard was it this time to decide what to release as a single?
It was very hard, honestly. I like every song on the record, and every song has its own kind of style and personality to it. So like I said, there's nothing that could really just define the whole record in one song. But we thought we'd strike hard with a title track being the first track of the record, and really release that first and like really drill the word Verminous into people's brains. And it seems to be working, man. It seems to have created a lot of excitement out of the box. So
yeah, and it is one of those standout words. And again, that's another reason why I love Black Dahlia Murders. Like you have this great sense of being able to use these striking words that when you hear them in a metal context, you automatically start thinking of Black Dahlia.
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoy writing for the band. It's something I take really seriously, and I've always, like when I was in school, gravitated towards English, and, I get to use all my chops now on the band, which is very fun. But, I really enjoy writing for the band, like I said, and I get a kick out of when the fans take that extra mile and like go listen to the lyrics and check out what I've written, and it's exciting to like have people waiting for that aspect.
Oh, totally. I can absolutely imagine that. And that's another thing I'm like wondering about. Musically, the maturity that's been going on with the band over the last couple decades. I mean, how do you feel about your personal songwriting ability when it comes to the lyrics? How do you feel that's progressed over since the beginning of the band?
I feel like I've learned what to do over more technical parts, that whereas like I look back at some of the early records and hear certain patterns that I wrote that I'm like not so proud of anymore. And, I'll just learning when to sing and when not to sing. I think this is the best example of that, like giving the songs a little bit more room to breathe and like make them less like syllabically dense. Just letting the parts ring true but I'm always trying to do new voices with each record and some new ideas, like some new tones. And, but yeah, I think that's been, I think we've all grown a lot, I think that this record is a result of, a lot of years of being a band and wisdom. And, it's just something that we couldn't have done before this time.
Yeah, and again, just like, especially since we've been talking about it so much, just seeing that growth, that maturity that's going on with the band right now. And, just like listening back to, like a Miasma or anything like that. And then you look at the middle era Black Dahlia, and now you look at Verminous now, it's just like, it's incredible to see like all these different eras and how they can translate together in that live setting, because whether you're playing older material like mid-era, at least as of right now, mid-era Black Dahlia, or the new stuff, it's just like, they have their own distinct sounds to them, but it all flows together well. I mean, every time that I've seen you guys live, it's always been an incredible set when you throw in the old stuff and the new stuff.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we definitely have respect for what we've done in the past, and there's certain staples that we'll always have to play live, I think. Death Mask Divine and I Will Return, for example. Everything Went Black. And, we know the fans love the old stuff, too, but we're always thinking about the present, so there's always a focus on new stuff live, too. But, Yeah, man, we have such a vast catalog now that it's really hard to draw out a set list anymore. You know, there's just so much to choose from.
Oh yeah, I mean, you want to be able to represent the new material live, and you always want to be able to shake up the set list, but when you have so many songs to be able to choose from, and of course the staples that you feel like you have to play, you know, it's like that can help a little bit, but then when you fill out the rest of the set, there's so many different directions you can go in.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. We try to mix it up a good bit. We try to please everybody, you know, and but, you know, we don't really want to fall into being like a legacy band that just plays Nocturnal every night, you know. We're just too young for that, and there's so much more to do with the band. Like, so we don't need to, like, go down that road of, like, being the Scorpions quite yet, you know.
Oh, totally not. Yeah. I mean, again, you know, it's just like with the older material, I mean, there's so many great classics and amazing moments that have happened in the past, but you're still writing amazing music, if not better music, with every single release. So as long as that musical chemistry is there and, you know, you got that inspiration, you got the lyrical content to be able to create something new, I mean, always strive for that new material because it shows the growth of the band.
Yeah, you know, we're just excited about the forward movement and making new music and always growing together. And yeah, man, you know, I just see a lot more records to come in the future, and you know, more growth.
Oh, that's so cool. Changing it up a little bit when it comes to new music and growth. I mean, I always look for your articles when it comes to checking out new stuff when it comes to music. What have you been checking out in 2020 lately?
I just got the new Temple of Void in the mail, and they are from Detroit, where we're from, and they play Death Doom in this old style that's like very traditional, but they're one of the best bands of the genres I've ever seen, I feel like, and this new record is just tremendous. It's called The World That Was, so I highly recommend looking into that. The new Molested Divinity is awesome if you like brutal death metal. And, yeah, man, I'm just always keeping my ear to the ground. You know, I love the hunt of, you know, checking out new stuff and, you know, trying to find new young bands to listen to. And, you know, it keeps me inspired to do Black Dahlia Murder, and it's just part of my life, you know, like just being a total metal nerd.
Yeah, as a fellow metal nerd, I mean, I love that so much. And, you know, just that feeling of being able to discover a new band and being able to show them to the masses. I mean, it's such a great feeling when you hear a band and they just do something that's just so cool. And you haven't heard a band do something like that either in a long time or ever. And you're able to just show that off. I mean, it's such a great feeling.
Yeah, you know, it's very a rewarding feeling to use my platform to, like, spread the gospel to young metalheads, you know, and I try to kind of lead by example with what I do in my columns, and, you know, just, like, I think there's some bands that are afraid to recommend other bands. Like, I think they think they're going to lose their fan base as someone else, but the fans are really appreciative, you know. I think that they really appreciate that approach.
Yeah, and I do love that approach so much because you've turned me on to so many different kinds of bands that are out there. I mean, ever since I discovered you writing the articles, and I appreciate that you do use that platform for that, because there's some people who don't use the platform at all to be able to do anything other than promote their own music, and you care so much about promoting other bands, and I just love seeing that, you know, just that maturity and growth of keeping metal alive.
Yeah, just trying to do my part. You know, like, I saw a real hole in metal media for the bands that I, like, listen to. And I thought, man, someone's got to give a voice to all these great bands, and especially brutal death metal. I just didn't see it in the metal media really at all. While meanwhile, the genre is, like, in a huge boom right now. So yeah, it felt good to, like, you know, it's like giving something back, you know. And the bands are very responsive to being you know, selected for the playlists and stuff like that. And I've made a lot of friends, and, you know, it just feels good. It's definitely you know, good vibes.
Yeah, and again, it's just, I love the fact that you do use the platform to be able to do that. And, you know, sometimes it can be a band that's been around for a while. Sometimes it's a brand new band or a brand new demo that comes out, and you're able to use these platforms to be able to show that off. And just like you said, like brutal death metal was very much a hole in metal media, which I don't understand because there's so much great prowess that's going on in that genre, and being able to support that is such a great thing to see. And the fact that you also expand outside brutal death metal as well too, and you're able to show off all these different sides, and it's just great to see that diversity in your sound when you're recommending albums to people.
Yeah, man, like metal is just in such a fruitful state right now, and there's so many different sounds under the blanket of extreme metal. And I just find it really rewarding constantly to like do that digging, for new bands. And I was going to do it anyway, so it's a good thing to like, use my platform and kind of like turn it into inspiring others,
Oh, very much so. And we need so much of that in the world right now, especially with the times that we're living in. I mean, if you can find something to really enjoy and help you get through everything that's going on, it can be such a great thing to behold. And, be it metal music as a great example, being able to take the time and discover bands that you might have not normally been able to say that you have the time to be able to check out, and these different genres, and actually giving bands a chance now, that especially with everything that's going on, it's a perfect time to do so.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's just metal is like my thing. It's like it saved my life. It's my one true love, so it's the least I can do.
Yeah, and again, it's just, be it what you do in Black Dahlia, be it being able to show off all these great other bands through your articles, and your other non-metal articles as well, too, or music-related articles and everything that's going on with that, too, just, being out there, being able to keep up with the fans, being able to interact with people, get your thoughts out there, it's just like, it's so great to see how you are using these different platforms and social media and everything that's out there to be able to, most predominantly, being able to show off positive things that are going on with things that you enjoy, because again, we need so much more of that.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you like it. It's definitely like I said, it's very rewarding, and just try to lead by example for the new generations coming in.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's such a great way to look at it too, because if someone like you is able to do that, that might inspire another band to be able to go out and want to promote other bands, and just continuing that cycle. And that's so important, as metal. It's just like online. Obviously, there's a great presence, and around the world there's that great presence. But it's not that top 40 music. So like any promotion that you can get from fans and recommendations and going to shows and artwork and everything that's going on. Like any promotion that metal can get is very well deserved and needed.
Oh, for sure. It's all still word of mouth, and the internet is just such a powerful resource to connect bands all over the world and fans all over the world. And yeah, man, it's just a great time for heavy music, for sure.
Oh, definitely. And with that, again, like wrapping things back up to the beginning, it's a great time for metal music, and a great time for Verminous to be coming out on April 17th through Metal Blade. I can't wait to dissect the album more, because I just love what's going on with this album so far when listening to it. I can't wait to be able to see you guys live again and be able to see how these songs translate live and in the sets. And it was just a great time being able to talk to you again about everything that's going on in your world, Black Dahlia, your articles, checking out new bands. I'm definitely going to be checking out both of them that you recommended here, because I haven't heard them yet, and I want to be able to check those out. And I thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
No problem, dude. I really appreciate your gusto here and all the kind words, man. So thank you so much.
Oh, not a problem. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, I think we covered everything. Just be on the lookout for a Black Dahlia headliner in the fall.
Oh, that's great to hear. I mean, I definitely would be looking out for that, and especially in the fall when hopefully all this stuff has blown over by then. That'll be the perfect thing that we need.
Yeah, we're hoping to get out there and represent Verminous, If not a little late, but we're just taking it in stride and doing the best we can,